Did Donald Trump tell Volodymyr Zelensky how he could have avoided an invasion and gotten clear of the corruption in his country? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Yesterday afternoon, a Twitter user, War Clandestine, dropped yet another thread, this time about Donald J. Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. The thread lasts for only 10 tweets, but in it, War Clandestine clearly shows that the Russian special military operation in Ukraine need never have happened. Trump gave Zelensky a choice, and Zelensky made it. Unfortunately for him and the world, Zelensky chose the worldwide deep state. I'm going to go over the actual history of Zelensky and Trump's conversations, and then go through the thread that spells out the choice Zelensky made and what that choice meant. Before I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, including this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which depicts Donald Trump in the facial portrait, and it reads, "The Great MAGA King." And since Trump was a party to this conversation, this is appropriate. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the silver dollar, the US dollar sign in it, rather? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, leave it. Click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, so long as it's legal tender. First, some necessary background. Recall that Donald Trump called Volodymyr Zelensky on July 25th, 2019. During that call, Trump pressed Zelensky on the revelations about Joe Biden and his son, Hunter. That call occasioned the first impeachment of Trump by the House of Representatives, then under Democratic Party control. The Republicans still control the Senate, and in any event, conviction on impeachment requires 2/3 of the senators present. On September 24th, 2019, the White House released a transcript. CNN published that transcript. I have a link in the description to their published copy of the transcript and to a Wall Street Journal video in which someone reads out at least part of that transcript. The very next day, after that transcript came out, September 25th, Trump and Zelensky met face-to-face in New York City. CBS and ABC both covered it, and I have links in the description to both their videos. Trump spoke glowingly of Zelensky, but not so glowingly of the corruption problems in Ukraine. The younger man had run for election on an anti-corruption platform. In a key moment, Trump specifically suggested that Zelensky confer with Vladimir Putin of Russia to solve his problem. Unquote. Now, bear in mind everything that I've shared with you before about certain firms talking about cultural and economic independence from Russia. The problem, as War Clandestine touched on I told you about that yesterday, is that Barack Obama had systematically set up deep state oligarchs to control everything worth controlling in Ukraine. Trump made no secret of his concern and spoke openly about it, but perhaps Zelensky didn't see it as a problem, just as he did nothing about Hunter Biden's corrupt business dealings. Yesterday afternoon, War Clandestine brought the subject up again. He left a relatively short thread, 10 tweets in all. I have links in the description to 5 of them, the even numbers. Be sure to click through. Those tweets are loaded with video snippets and images of key documents. And here is the text. Important thread on the infamous Trump-Zelensky meeting September 25th, 2019. We all remember Zelensky looking mortified when hearing what Trump knew about in Ukraine, live in front of the world. Here, Trump suggests that Zelensky should get together with Putin to solve his problem. The problem Trump was referring to was the corruption in Ukraine. The entire country is controlled by U.S. deep state oligarchs. Trump makes it known in front of Zelensky that he knows about what's going on in Ukraine, which is why Zelensky is visibly uncomfortable. Trump revealed that Putin knows about the corruption in Ukraine and expressed to Zelensky that it would behoove him and the world to get with Putin and help solve his problem of deep state politicians running his country via proxy. Trump offered Zelensky an escape. Well, it appears Zelensky opted to stay with the deep state, allowing them to continue their illegal activities in Ukraine. But in exchange for what? That over $100 billion in funding we sent to Ukraine making sense yet? That's Zelensky's kickback for his role in the scheme. He lets deep state actors conduct their business in Ukraine and receives billions in exchange to look the other way. Makes sense why Zelensky ordered the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense to burn all documents associated with biolab companies Metabiota and Battelle. When Russia fired the first missiles, Putin knew, Trump knew, Zelensky knew that Putin and Trump knew. This is why Zelensky tried to cover his tracks when Putin started moving into Ukraine, because he knew exactly what Putin was after. Putin was after the bioweapons. So, if Trump and Putin were both trying to uproot deep state control of Ukraine, does this mean Trump and Putin really are on the same team as the mainstream media suggests? Putin said he wanted Trump to win because Trump wanted to bring the U.S. and Russia relationship back to normal. Are we all starting to recognize that Putin and Trump seem to have the same enemies? Trump calls them the deep state, Putin calls them Western elites. Both Trump and Putin were trying to get the corruption out. But then, the virus that shall remain nameless got out, forcing Putin's hand. It's starting to look like the left-wing media had some merit when accusing Trump and Putin of having an alliance of sorts. In fact, Trump has stellar relationships with the BRICS leaders, and the deep state politicians really don't like it. In conclusion, it appears that war is not Russia, that this war is not Russia versus Ukraine, it's BRICS versus deep state controlled NATO. This is World War III. Now, most people envision that World War III would be a kinetic nuclear war, but thus far, World War III has been a biological, information, and psychological war. End of thread. Before I get to the reaction, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor, oursilverlines.com. You feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the last few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides. Either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com. Learn how you can build a legacy for your future. And one more thing before I discuss the reaction. That word BRICS doesn't mean the heavy, molded, rectilinear object you use to build houses. BRICS is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Those five have formed an alliance to substitute their respective currencies to the United States dollar to buy oil and other commodities. Now China is a special case. I've shared with you that I think China sees herself as the middle kingdom to rule the world. And Brazil might try to depart from that alliance, under this President Lula. South Africa is just along for the ride, I think, but Russia and India especially are prize examples of a concept I have shared with you before, the civilizational state that features shared values and self-sufficiency as a state. Reaction came relatively swiftly. Some accused Russia of corruption, but others asked those accusers to present facts to back up their claims. That thread went on for 4 tweets, and I have links to the second and the fourth. Not one user, by the way, disputed War Clandestine's description of the meeting, the look on Zelensky's face, or anything else he said. Many users commented on Zelensky's uncomfortable appearance. I have links to the description to 2 examples of that. One user called Zelensky a little elf, and someone else said he looked like a child sent to his room in punishment. Now, some people will never believe anything against the legacy media or against Ukraine either. But one user took another one to task over whether Zelensky was telling the truth. I have links to the description to 3 tweets by this particular user. She literally calls herself sassy and classy. I want to shout out to her. She's following me now. And a last tweet from a user who lays it on the line. I quote him, "Install the clown into office. We all should pray for the safety of the Ukraine civilians. It is the globalist puppet that should hang for the destruction of such kind and warm people. Remove the lapdog and the war ends tomorrow. Putin does not want the extermination of civilians." Close quote. Along that line came this from yet another user, quote, "The joke is on the rest of Europe taking care of Ukraine citizens. Zelensky has pulled up the biggest bank robbery known to mankind." Close quote. This user shared another YouTube video giving further evidence of the corruption Zelensky seems to have tolerated. The title of the video is Ukraine Press Conference Reveals Biden Corruption. I have a link in the description of both the tweet and the video. And now, my own analysis. This thread reminds us all to put the first Trump impeachment into perspective. Clearly, Trump was getting too close to the situation Barack Obama created in Ukraine. So the Democratic House impeached Trump, but of course did not succeed in removing him. But War Clandestine suggests something else, something I have heard from other sources, namely that Trump and Vladimir Putin are allied on one issue above all, breaking the power of the deep state. Recall that Putin, in 2016, canceled an overseas trip, and he put his own country on alert. Recall also that Putin suggested that his people arm themselves, as he has done before. Dictators do not want their people armed, but confident leaders do, recognizing that an armed citizenry is the last line of defense. And also this maxim from the late Robert A. Heinlein, quote, "An armed society is a polite society," unquote, Heinlein. Did the virus that shall remain nameless force Putin's hand? No, the defeat of Trump forced his hand. Perhaps had Trump won, Zelensky would have made a different choice. And perhaps those old Soviet laboratories that the U.S. government alleged were now threat reduction laboratories would have ceased to be. But Zelensky stuck with the oligarchs, and the results we all know. Link in the description of the article, to the transcript and text and on video of the July call, to 2 videos of the September meeting in New York, to the thread, to 10 tweets and 1 video in reaction to my declarations of Twitter account, and to conservative news and views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlives.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and links to my Ukraine playlist, the Wall Street Journal video, and then to CBS News, the CBS News video of the in-person meeting. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.